What's going on, you bunch of heathens? It has been a while since we've checked out some Tactically Acquired, but I saw he did a collab with Fat Electrician, so I had to check it out. So here I am. Definitely make sure you check out his original video. It's linked down below. This one's called America's Covered a Speedboat and Machine Guns, the Patrol Boat River. I love the PBR. One of the coolest things to come out of the Vietnam War. And I'm excited to learn about it. Let's jump in.
So in today's episode of Not the Fat Electrician, we're going to see what it took to build one of the most aggressive aquatic anger translators the world has ever seen. Also known as the Patrol.
That's kind of funny because I think he's trying to remember if it's a video it may have been the video I watched, or it might have been a video I watched in my spare time. But I think he said something along the lines of he gets compared to Nick a lot, which is unfair. I mean, history is history. Making comedic history is a great fucking niche. It just is what it is. But I kind of like that. I kind of like that he's embraced it.
Boat River, aka the PBR.
Or at least it seems that way. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
It's got insane military requirements that no mere mortal could hope to achieve. We've got civilian contractors doing shady for the chance of getting some of that sweet government cash monies.
Of course.
To top it all off, we've got our nation's finest being fielded brand new equipment and almost immediately adopting the ubiquitous phrase of, "Damn, Chief, I know I can do all that." And there's going to be plenty of that to discuss and more right after a word from our... hold on.
Okay.
Hello, is this Nick? Yeah, this is Nick. Not the chubby Electron one, but the dark-skinned Temu version. What's up?
I didn't realize your name was Nick too. Oh, that's so much funnier now.
We've been trying to reach you about your... What an oddly relevant segue into...
By the way, did he call himself the dark-skinned Temu version of Fat Electrician?
Today's sponsor.
That's pretty good. I like that.
This video is sponsored by Delete Me. All right, so let's be honest here, you guys. If you watch my channel, then you also watch the Fat Electrician, which means...
I was about to say, you're both fucking sponsored by the same people. That's incredible.
You already know about Delete Me. But in case you
very
haven't,
much
and you're
so
still on the fence about it, then let me get you up to speed. So basically, the way the internet works is that all these free services that you use, you know, Google, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, well, they all sell your personal information to data brokers. Now that doesn't sound very nice at all, so why would they do that? Simple, because nothing in life is free, and for the privilege of using their free service, they've got to make money off of you somehow. And this is where Delete Me swoops in like an overprotective dad. They are going to go through all of the major data brokers, they're going to find the ones who are selling your personal information, and they are going to beat them into submission. I mean, they're going to submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Now, the question you might be wondering is,
just a PC way to say what you just did, though.
Absolutely, of course you could. Are you going to? I think you and I both know the answer to that. You still haven't canceled that shit almost impossible to do. It was a one and done thing, so you definitely aren't going to jump through the hoops of getting your data off of these call lists. And guys, I think this is a great deal, and truth be told, even if Delete Me wasn't sponsoring this video, I was going to sign up with them anyway because these phone calls are straight up getting out of control. Now, while I can't get you their services for free, what I can give you is a link and a discount code below. Go to joindeleteme.com/tac and use my code TAC at checkout for a 20% discount. Now, back to the video. All right, so time for my favorite thing in the world, numbers and data. Across the thousands of square miles of Vietnamese rivers, every single month, PBRs could log up to 70,000 patrol hours, search a downright ridiculous 250,000 vessels, and on average get into somewhere in the ballpark of 80 individual firefights. And again, to be clear, that's each and every single month. Every 30
God, that's
days.
A shitload.
Guys, that math works out to an average of 2.67, 7.62 ass whoopings every 24 hours.
One more! Rest in pieces.
And not only were these guys absolute legends on the water, but they were also the, not some, but the most decorated sailors of the entire war. We're talking about 2 Medal of Honor recipients, 14 Navy crosses, a mess of silver stars, bronze stars, purple hearts, and even ships. Yes, they named whole ass ships after 5 fallen PBR sailors, 1 fallen PBR soldier, and even one for the undisputed Navy.
That is actually... Sorry, I'm going to get rid of the captions. I thought they'd be nice, but... USS James E. Willie. That is so fucking cool.
Naval gangster that is BM1 James Elliott Williams, the most decorated enlisted sailor
Look
in
at
US
that
Navy
homie.
history. Well, that's some BS if I've ever heard any. All the PBR had going for it was its speed. It was a one-trick pony. If speed alone were enough to survive on the battlefield, maybe they would have kept PBRs around after the war had ended. Are you freaking...
I mean, don't they already kind of do? I mean, look at Swick. Swick uses, like, the spiritual successor to the PBR, doesn't it? At least that's what I always assumed from them. They go in hella fast to insert and exfil people.
Kidding me right now?
I hope they bring it up.
PBR, speed literally was the weapon. Speed is nothing more than invisible armor made out of thin air. It shrinks the enemy's aiming window to the size of an E-Force attention span. Speed is what lets you pick
Speed is like one of the best things ever.
And repossess the enemy's initiative like they missed 3 car payments. Guys, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, what I'm trying to tell you is that speed is the... Oh, there he goes again. Ripping off the Fat Electrician.
Oh my God.
All right, you know what? How about
if you watch him, okay, I'm sorry. If you watch him, or if you watch something enough, you will start picking up on some of their mannerisms. It just is what it is. Okay? If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, like, that's a pretty standard saying. Admittedly, Nick says it a lot. Fat Electrician. But, you know, it ain't that weird.
A specialist to help you to focus up. Go ahead and tell him how speed and aggression are the keys to a happy life, Dad. I mean, Fat Electrician.
You know, as a designated fat white guy, getting asked to explain speed by my in-shape black alter ego was not on my bingo card, but here we go.
Yes! 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 The in-shape black alter ego.
Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, let me explain this to you, because Nick over here is correct. You know what's better than having
this is
thick
so
enough armor
good
to tank a bullet? Not getting fucking shot. Ask the SR-71, America's spy plane that we made out of titanium pizza ovens, okay? It's got 0 countermeasures to stop a missile from shooting at it or bullets from hitting it, but guess what? It's faster than the bullets and it's faster than the missiles, so it doesn't fucking matter. Buh! This is just a bunch of cope. Buh! No, it's not, and I can literally prove it mathematically. It is Newton's second law of motion. Force equals mass times acceleration. Literally, a dude sitting underneath an apple tree that got hit in the head with an apple figured this out. It's not that complicated.
Yeah,
he knew immediately that apple hitting him in the head would have hurt more if A, the apple weighed more, or if B, the tree got pissed off and overhanded the apple at his head instead of just letting it fall. So we apply the same concept to the US military, which makes sense because the US military's entire job is to project and apply force. So if we want more force, we need more mass or more speed. Well, where are we trying to apply this force? On the rivers of the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. Literally a bunch of tiny little rivers and waterways all over the place, so adding more mass isn't really an option. Sure, would driving the USS Iowa battleship down that motherfucker project more force? Absolutely, but it's just not gonna fit. So if we want to be able to apply more force, we have to apply more speed. We're gonna take a bunch of speedboats, cover them with machine guns, and we're gonna be all over the fucking place all the time. So that's it. That's the new strategy. America's doing drive-bys from speedboats now. And if the enemy shoots back, it doesn't matter because we're too fast. Blink, you're gonna miss them. Don't blink, you're still gonna miss them. This isn't even my video. I'm getting too excited. I gotta go.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Turns out speed.
God. I love Nick. I love them both.
Speed, power, and outright aggression can, in fact, get you what you want.
Of course
it can.
In the
case of the U.S. Navy, what they wanted was to own the rivers of Vietnam. So naturally, the question now becomes, how exactly did the U.S. Navy land on the solution for brown water tactical acquisition being a beefed-up fiberglass river missile?
I thought you'd never ask.
I was very low frame rate. That really threw me off.
When one day the U.S. Navy woke up and decided that what they needed was a river force. And in particular, what they were desperate for was a patrol boat, and they needed it yesterday. And so from here...
My dumbass, I'm sitting here, what the fuck is the design on this shirt? Why does the eye look so weird? No, it's I'm assuming like a microphone or something like that. It took me way too long to realize that's what this was. I could not figure out for the life of me what the fuck it was.
The Navy's Unconventional Warfare Office laid out some requirements for this new boat. It had to be lightweight, which meant it needed an aluminum or fiberglass hull. It had to operate in inches, not feet, but inches of water, go around 30 knots or around 35 miles per hour. And because time was a luxury that we didn't have, that meant no made-from-scratch designs would be accepted. In other words, they would have to pull from their existing inventory, adapt a civilian hull, and find a way to make it a whole hell of a lot meaner for the rivers of Vietnam.
Listen up, Chiefs. I done had me an idea. What if we took a bass boat, tactically acquired us a couple of 50s, and then used it to conduct waterborne drive-bys on the river? Sir, just hear me out. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but doesn't that sound kind of just a little bit dangerous?
Of course it does.
Nah. It'll probably be all right. Okay, so clearly this guy's looking for a second promotion, so I'm just gonna tag in here for a second. So, as much as we all absolutely love your amazing ideas, with all due respect, and remember,
piggyback
sir,
off
I
that.
am saying, with all due respect, that idea is all kinds of stupid. Well, Chief, like I always say, it's only stupid if it doesn't work. Don't make me break out rock, paper, rank on your ass.
And with this logic in mind, clearly there was only one company for the job. They were going to go with a company that was already firmly established in making...
I already know what it is. If you watch the Grand Tour, then you probably already know as well.
Premier watercraft. I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Why in the actual hell would you think that was correct? No, instead, someone called up our story's first protagonist, Willis Slane. Slane founded a company called Hatteras Yachts in 1965, and somehow he found himself in a meeting with Navy bigwigs. Slane took this list of requirements, and immediately he knew he had something damn close that could fit the bill. Slane proposed his brand new 28-foot fiberglass sport fisher, and along with it, he threw out one more game-changing idea.
Gentlemen, here's what I propose. For the shallow water problem, what if we just use water jets instead? We wouldn't have to contend with shafts, we don't have to worry about rudders or propellers. This would allow for high-speed operation in very shallow waters. I like it. Send me a formal proposal, and then we can move forward. Proposal hell, ain't nobody got time for all that paperwork stuff. I'll just build the damn boat.
And true to his word, that's exactly what he did. He went back to North Carolina, pulled 2 hulls straight from the mold, and started the conversion complete with a pair of tasty, high-performance supercharged Daytona diesels mated to water jet drives. And not only did they manage to pull all of this off, but they also managed to do it all in just 1 week. Actually, they did it in 2 weeks, not 1. Maybe you should get your facts straight first before...
God. I love Fat Electrician's little keyboard warrior bit, but I can always tell that it's a bit. This though, yours is so it's so much more rage. This is actual rage inducing because I know people, I've seen comments like this. It is actually so fucking rage inducing. That gave me a fucking... That was a knee-jerk reaction to just say, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. Oh my God.
Videos. Look, guy, I know this might be hard for you to believe, but sometimes different sources give different results for the exact same thing. I've seen some sources say 2 weeks, others say 1, and contrary to what you've been told, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Honestly, it really doesn't matter because 7 to 10 days to go from pleasurecraft to murdercraft is insane.
I mean, either way, it's still really fucking good.
Early testing showed this new design was not only fast and agile, but it could also stop on a dime, which is a kind of useful combination when you want to play brown water linebacker against a team who has the home field advantage.
Oh shit.
You can't bring that weak ass stuff up in this Humpty Bumpy.
I'm sorry, brown water. Every time he says brown water, it does not sound right. It sounds either derogatory or fucking gross.
I'm kind of proud of myself with that one. I don't know anything about the sports, and I just made a football joke.
The sports.
Teach me to football?
The bottom line was that Slane and Hatteras had just proven that a fiberglass hull and jet drives could be used to weaponize speed and power on the water. Now, what they didn't know was that somewhere 3,000 miles away, a new challenger was about to reveal themselves.
Ooh.
All the way on the other side of the country, a company called United Boat Builders was already making a name for itself in both its civilian and military watercraft. And at the helm of this ship is our story's protagonist number 2, named Arthur. Art was a businessman, and he was in the business of making money. And what better place to make money than through government contracts? By mid-1965, he had gotten wind of the fact that Hatteras was working on a new riverboat for the Navy, and he wasn't too happy about that.
Fred, what the actual hell? You let a couple of nobodies in and you didn't call me first? Art, relax. You know I'm all up in the Navy small craft procurement department, and I didn't even know that this was going on. Well, that dog just ain't gonna hunt. So what now? Art, this isn't a big deal. A contract this big has to go out to bid. You'll get your chance.
And Art's buddy made good on his word. In the fall of 1965, a formal request was sent out for what was now known as the Patrol Boat River, aka the PBR. Nothing had changed from the original parameters, which meant it still had to be made out of fiberglass or aluminum. It still had to have a shallow draft, hit speeds of up to 30 knots, you know, no big deal. Oh, almost forgot. They wanted you to make 120 of them. They wanted it done in 90 days, and you only had 1 week to turn in your design, end quotes.
Yeah, come on, Art, get your shit together.
Right now with this timeline, this thing is absurd. This cannot be done.
Agree to disagree. I don't think so.
Well, of course you don't think so, sir, but you don't have to physically make your insane idea a reality.
Hey, shh, listen. You hear that?
Hear what, sir?
Come on now, listen.
Rock. No, don't do that, sir.
Do it.
It's
Do it.
really not necessary.
Do it.
Paper.
Oh my gosh, this guy, fine.
Clearly, this is an insane request. 120 boats in 90 days is 1.33333 repeating boats per day. Fortunately for Art, however, a little birdie gave him and United Boats a heads up, so he already had a 30-day lead over his competition.
Oh
Art
my
sketched
God.
out a design in 2 days and used their own 31-foot sports cruiser hull as a starting point. Funny enough, the changes they made to make it ready for the Navy were actually used to improve their future boat designs. In other words, the technology that they developed to meet the military's desire to execute water war directly led to improvements of their civilian pleasure craft. One big change United made in their design compared to Hatteras revolved around the propulsion system.
It's cool, but it really does fucking suck that Homie got 30 extra fucking days because someone told him about it.
I thought the jets used by Hatteras would be underpowered under full combat load, so instead, they decided to go with fighter jets. No, wait, that's not right. Charcuterie jets. Wait, what in the hell? That don't make any sense. Can't you read my own handwriting? Why would a murder boat machine be made out of prosciutto and gorgonzola? Oh, that says jacuzzi jets.
Yeah!
Jacuzzi. Which, if we're being perfectly honest, sounds equally absurd in its own way. You're telling me that a company that makes military-grade watercraft decided to adapt hot tub bubbles into hot lead dispensaries? I guess.
I mean, it makes sense. They know water jets. I mean, I'm pretty sure Grant Clarkson said it best on Grand Tour. He's like, what better people than the people who, you know, have a business out of it?
Nothing says
their whole business is
like
water jets.
Wide open throttle. Anyway, after Hatteras, United, and a handful of others frantically turned in their proposals, all of them were then evaluated based on performance and price. And when it came to price, United was clearly hands down the winner. At a mere 75 grand per boat, or $750K in 2025 dollars, they were by far
that ain't
the
bad.
lowest bidder. However, turns out this was a mistake.
Son, did you even look at these numbers before you sent them out?
Yeah, Dad, of course I did.
Why?
Indulge me for a minute, son. What does this say?
Okay, fine. The Navy requires a spare parts package to include an extra engine, a water jet unit, and various other equipment and blah, blah, blah for 120 PBRs. There. Are you happy now?
Son, read it again, but this time
include the blah, blah, blah part that you left out. Okay. The Navy requires a complete for every 10 boats.
Yeah,
What do you do?
Was right. 1 kit for every 10 PBRs meant they needed 12 kits, not just 1. That was a 120K oversight, which when adjusted for today's money is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.23 million.
Ashes to ashes. Can we recover for this?
Viggo, you know what was in that vault, right? It's not.
Obviously, this wasn't good, so Art
that is not fucking good.
To see if it'd be worth correcting a mistake that could put their chances of winning at risk. Art's
that
inside
really
man let
isn't.
him know that he
That's
may
some
or may
bad
not
shit.
win the bid, so long as he didn't rock the boat over this relatively small amount of money. So United lived on with the mistake, and it paid off. On November 29th,
yeah, fucking eat the cost. We fucked up.
Officially won the contract.
Can't afford
and
to
credit
not.
where credit is due, they didn't just win on price, but also because in their testing, their design met the speed requirement while being fully armored up and loaded down with guns and ammunition. Not only was this something Hatteras was not able to demonstrate, but it also didn't help the fact that Slane really didn't like the fact that the Navy was always up in his business trying to provide oversight.
All right, get out of here. Just get out of my shop. Get out right now. Just lose your shit, Aurelio, because we own you. Wait, what did you say? What did you say to me?
We own you.
You don't own me, punk.
Now, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The US government is not about to let you do whatever the hell it is that you want to do. As a matter of fact, you could be the expert in your field. You could be the literal top dog who has devoted 40 years of your life to perfecting this one singular widget. And the only thing standing between you landing that fat government contract or walking away empty-handed is your ability to just swallow your pride and say,
Well, of course, Admiral. Yes, I think that's a great idea. Really? Think so, huh? Sure, why not? What do I know? I'm only the world's leading expert on weapons designs and have 6,969 patents to my name. Instead of making my life's work out of indestructible titanium, it would make way more sense if we went with your genius level inside idea and made it out of balsa wood instead. Man, that's good stuff. And I didn't even have to break out rock, paper, rank today either. Man, it's been a good day. Hey, Bo Swain, come solve this for me.
So not only did Hatteras not win the contract, but tragically, it gets even worse because Slane never even got a chance to see his project through to the finish. Now, depending on the source, Slane either died the night before the demonstration or very well near it. Either way, what we do know is that Slane had previously been diagnosed with diabetes, and ignoring the warning signs, he eventually worked himself to death. The man quite literally gave his life to bring his vision into a reality, and now it was up to United and Art to carry Slane's pioneering work forward into battle. And knowing what I know about the PBR, he does it justice. By fire, and it was by far the single most important contract United had ever won. And per that contract, they had only 90 days to deliver 120 PBRs by, get this, April 1st, 1966.
You serious?
Yeah, turns out this was not, in fact, the most elaborate April.
Bitch, you wanted the fucking contract. You're getting the fucking contract.
Joke in American military history. So with that out of the way, United got to work. And hard in the paint these boys went, because after only 3.5 weeks, they had the first 10 PBRs completely built.
Outstanding work. Sorry, what was your name again? Thank you, sir. And it's Art, sir. Yes, I agree. It is a work of art, but I wanted to know your name, son. No, sir. My name. It's Art. All right, you know what? Screw it. You're doing way too much right now, so I'm just gonna call you Slim. Sir, it's pretty simple. My name is Art. You know what, Slim? You and your boys did a damn fine job getting these things done, but I need you to do
way too
a little
accurate
durability testing just to make sure these bad boys are up to the task. Okay. I mean, yeah. Of course, Admiral. In fact, we have our first one here. It's fresh off the line. We have a stress testing machine out back, and we could also, no time, put it in the water and blow it up. What the
Bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Guys, I wish I was
some
making
pretty
that up for
standard
comedic
Navy
effect,
shit,
no,
government shit in general.
Fortunately for Art and United, the whole passed with flying colors, and by mid-January 1966, the first batch of 10 PBRs had passed their Navy trials and were ready for combat. Not long after that, they were sent to California, where their crews took part in PBR training school. Here's where they would learn the art of fighting on the river in their brand new boats. The sailors who received this training had to learn a lot, and they had to learn it quick. Intensive training like night ambushes, river navigation, maintenance, and even Mekong drive-bys, sorry, I meant boat gunnery, were rehearsed over and over.
Nah, that's what I'm gonna call boat gunnery from now on. No matter what it is. No matter what, it's gonna be called Mekong drive-bys. I love that term.
And over again. And while all of this initial training was going on, United kept at it, churning out PBRs as fast as they possibly could. And again, per their initial contract, all 120 PBRs had to be delivered by April 1st, 1966, and they came damn close to doing it too. Missing
did they not finish it?
Only 2 weeks. Missing that deadline meant paying a penalty of $500 per boat per day, which meant in total they had to pay $35,000 or $350K in today's dollars. In the end, it was a small price to pay because...
Yeah, but that's another price to pay on top of the fee that you already had to do when you fucked up the, God, what was it? The spare parts or whatever? Because you also had that.
The Navy was so impressed with what they had accomplished in only 4 months that they received an additional order of 40 more, bringing the total to 160. Now, this was great news for United, but the PBR still had one more test that they had to pass before a legend could truly be born.
Vietnam.
Now,
if
you ever spend any time around soldiers, sailors, airmen, or Marines, you probably already know that they all hate change. It doesn't matter how badass a piece of equipment is. It could 10x your effective killing range, have 50% fewer parts to maintain, and they would still complain and aggressively insist that the old one is just better. Now, I say all that to say that I think the Mark 1 PBR is one of those rare instances where this is just straight up not the case. Why do I feel that way?
Well, to be fair, like, I'm trying to think of them. Unproven. It's because a lot of the time they get shit that's unproven and doesn't fucking work. I mean, to be fair, look at, and even if it does work phenomenally, the government somehow always finds a way to fuck it up. I mean, look at the M16. The M16 was originally designed for a very specific kind of round for it, like powder or something like that. But the government decided, no, we're not going to do that. Instead, what we're going to do is cheap out on the ammo because the other ammo is a bit more expensive. We're going to go for a cheaper ammo that fucks with the cycling rate, which is why the whole idea of M16's jamming. It wasn't the gun, it was the ammo that the government ordered for the gun. And then I had another thing in my head about something else, another example. I can't remember.
Probably because there wasn't anything else like it prior, but I think it mostly just came down to the fact that it was just straight up badass. The PBR's jet propulsion meant that this boat could travel pretty much anywhere and perform maneuvers that were impossible for a traditional propeller-driven boat. Here's an example. A PBR could go wide open and run clean over a sandbar or intentionally beach itself without causing any damage to the propulsion system.
Oh, shit.
Dude. Thank you for using the Grand Tour.
Right, what I've just done is, there's no other word, I've crashed.
Which is very impressive, but did I also mention the fact that these things are fast?
Oh, they're hella fast.
But it's worth saying again because PBRs could absolutely fly down the river. With just the slightest touch of the controls, sailors would describe the effect on the PBR as, quote, it caused an immediate and violent reaction.
Ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready, Shelby. Hit it. Attaboy.
The top speed was already impressive enough, but when you combine that speed with its ability to stop or turn 180 degrees within its own 31-foot length, you can now start to get an idea as to why trying to outrun a PBR only meant that you were going to die tired. Now, all that that being said, not
good movie if you haven't watched Ford versus Ferrari.
With the PBRs.
If you haven't watched that, you should definitely watch it.
They have had one or two kind of sort of significant issues right out of the box. For example, as good as the handling was at top speed, it was just straight up the exact opposite at slow speed.
Oh, God. Look at this. Full left go. Just concentrate on. Don't do that.
Now, because that part does suck about the handling, but on the other hand, Joe is always going to be Joe, and of course, he is going to find a way to use a $1 million piece of military equipment to play pranks on each other. Because of the extreme agility of the PBR, you could spin it around on its axis like a top. Seaman Jerry Hamill described this favorite prank of his as, quote, "You could hurt somebody if you didn't tell them ahead of time what you were going to do. You could throw them off the boat." Now, to my civilians out there watching who might be thinking that an active war zone is no place for tomfoolery of this nature, I'm sorry to have to break it to you, but this is exactly the perfect time.
No, that's the perfect place to fucking do it, because you gotta lighten up the mood somehow. You gotta keep morale up somehow. Otherwise, you're already in Vietnam. Like, even if you volunteered, you no matter what, even if you were conscripted, even if you were drafted, your ass is getting, you're not welcome at home anymore. Like, no.
For river shenanigans. It's these little moments of dark humor that keep you sane when your Mark I does things like, oh, I don't know, takes on more than double the water it was originally designed for. Turns out to be slower than you were told it would be. Your drive shaft breaks out on patrol. Or how about the fact that a crack or even a pinhole in your fiberglass hull could cause the styrofoam inside of it to absorb water, swell up, and make your already slower than advertised boat even slower. But hands down, the biggest issue with the PBR was the thing that made it so good in the first place. Those jet pumps. As amazing as jet pumps are, they do have one major inherent design flaw. They were easily rendered useless when clogged with debris.
So to get through it, I decided to dip careful.
I was gonna say, they bring this up in this as well.
And call on my old friends.
Speed and power.
No.
And it just sucks all that shit up and you're stuck.
Yeah, we're stuck.
Now, in all fairness, they did have systems in place to mitigate this issue, but it wasn't uncommon for an intake to be clogged when flying down river at full speed.
Dude, I love how he's using Grand Tour footage on this, because that is the closest to a specification for a PBR nowadays, because we don't have anymore. So that's the closest we can get to one nowadays. It's such high quality footage on, honestly, more or less what the PBR would look like back then, more kind of.
And then all of a sudden, it would just unexpectedly,
the kind of shit that Enlisted would do,
just bust a U-turn. A flying 180, as the crews called it, could send men and their equipment flying in all directions into the water. And this was such a common issue that boat captains would instead get proactive by clearing their intakes once or twice per patrol. And if right now you're sitting there thinking to yourself, man, that job sounds like it sucks. Well, you'd be right.
That does suck.
The short straw that day would have to jump into that murky water, get butt-ass naked, and clean out the intakes by hand. Now, most of the time, it was just things like sticks or weeds, but on occasion...
Yeah, to get naked. You don't want to be fucking... You don't want to be wet the rest of the patrol. That would suck.
What they find was clogging up the intakes was a live snake. Now, guys, in all honesty, I tried coming up with something clever to say here, but then I remembered this story is about salty, dark humor-laden Vietnam vets, so I'll let them describe the scene.
Thank you.
Quote, some of those snakes were pretty angry. We used to try to lift the cover off the pumps and push them out with a broom handle, but sometimes that didn't work, and you had to go underneath and pull them out. So that was interesting.
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes.
Interesting. Interesting is such a fucking way to call it.
On this motherfucking plane.
But hey, you know what? That's the great thing about the military. We're so used to getting equipment that isn't 100% up to snuff that we tend to just sack up and make do. Sailors like Boatswain mate James Elliott Williams would do things
he is such a unit.
Did you just say Boatswain? Wow, you're such an idiot. It's pronounced bosun, Tyrone.
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
Hey, you know what? Touche. I'll give you that. But counter argument. First of all, I'm Army, not Navy. So
first of all, Army, not Navy. Second off, I don't give a fuck. You know what I meant.
Heard that pronounced in my entire career. Second of all, you want to know how I know that the spelling of that rank is stupid? Because down in the comment section, y'all have told me everything from Bosun to Bosin to Bosan. Guys, if a dozen different keyboard warriors give me a dozen different ways to pronounce the exact same thing, then by default, said spelling of said thing is stupid. I have got to get better control over these internal.
Well, what about the Caribbean? Or the Caribbean? Because I pronounce it both ways. It just depends on the context. Like, it's not Pirates of the Caribbean, it's Pirates of the Caribbean. But I'm going down to the Caribbean. But I like Caribbean music, not Caribbean music. Like, there's certain, you have to say, it depends on the context.
Internalized rants. Anyway, like I was trying to say, sailors like BM1 Williams would do things like remove his engine covers, non-essential equipment, shim the governors of his engine, and even modify his hull. Basically, he'd do anything and everything that he could to tickle a little extra speed out of his boat. But despite all these issues, PBR crews pretty much unanimously loved their vessels. And it was critical that they did because unlike your typical Navy vessel that carried over 2,000 men, your average PBR carried just 4. A boat
I was gonna say
captain,
5.
an engine man, a gunner's mate, and a seaman.
Honestly,
Boat
yeah,
captains were usually
not
junior
wrong.
officers or chief petty officers, but eventually a select few non-chiefs were given command to include James Williams. If you haven't already seen that video, I highly recommend you check it out because the man showed the world
I'll
what
definitely
kind of
checking it
pounding a
out.
sailor
I
could
want to
dish
see
out
what this.
when given
I want to
a time
see what this man
limit,
is
some tight
like.
spaces, and the right equipment.
I need 2 men on this. That's what she said. No time.
Or he said, no judgment here, Navy. But in all seriousness, PBR crew members
definitely
were
gotta
a
check out
different
that
breed
video.
entirely. Unlike a traditional ship where sailors were accustomed to performing highly specialized work on huge floating cities, PBR crews were expected to learn each other's jobs and to pitch in. Everyone on board had to be a jack of all trades.
Because if one person goes down, then someone else has to take over. It makes sense.
Be on their game at all times. And most importantly, if they wanted to survive, they would have to operate on an elite level. PBR crews were such a tight-knit group that they unofficially adopted black berets to stand apart even more from your typical sailor. One PBR sailor summarized how insane this job was.
Honestly,
said, quote,
respect. Good for them. They deserve it.
To be on a 31-foot boat in the middle of a country where everyone wanted to kill you. You really develop a sense of camaraderie.
What is it? What the hell is wrong with you?
This Predator?
There's something in those trees.
Which makes perfect sense,
I think that was the original Predator.
It's silly to let stupid things like race or political beliefs come between a crew when you're stuck on a boat for up to 18 hours a day and you're heating canned chow on the back of an engine manifold. But of course,
honestly, everything I've heard is the military really doesn't. You will hear the most, from what I've heard, you will hear the most racist shit. But it won't be it'll be in jest a lot of the time from what I've heard. And there's like, it's like, yeah, no, we're fucking brothers. I get to fuck with you because you're my family, you're my best friend, all that kind of shit. Anyone else does it, I'll fuck them up. Because they're not like that. They're not like that with me. Of course,
if
or with you.
Meat wasn't to your liking, well, you could take your chances indulging in the local cuisine, but then you would just be taking your life into your own hands. All it would take was one bad meal, and PBR sailors would be, as they described it, hanging 10, as they hung their asses over the river in order to release some demons.
I don't need to hear the noise.
But when PBR sailors weren't playing chicken with their food intake or conducting high-stakes sessions, they were conducting hours and hours of patrols. Most patrols involved 2 boats working together to search the locals, and it was up to them to determine who was a friend and who was the enemy. But on occasion, they got bored with that, and when that happened, they decided to instead engage in some true gangster level activities. With twin 50 cals up front, a grenade launcher in the middle, and an additional 50 or a pig out back, PBRs were extremely well equipped and always down to party. That being said, you can never have too much of a good thing, and if the Mark I was good, well then the follow-up was destined to be even better. The first Mark IIs began to arrive in Vietnam in September 1967, and they brought with them some tasty improvements. They followed the old American playbook of bigger is better, and PBR crews definitely agreed with this logic. These new Mark IIs were larger, faster, more powerful, and more durable than their Mark I counterparts. Gun configurations varied wildly depending on crew preferences, but generally, they maintained the twin 50s up front, a 50 out back, and had both a grenade launcher and an M60 mounted midship. Some crews
I like that it's like crew preference.
Cannons or 81mm mortars because why the hell not?
Fuck yeah, I'll take the 20.
This is America, and bigger is always better.
That's what she said. Oh, no, not that. Just come on, you guys. Listen.
Now, something that I think is an absolute tragedy is that after the PBR's usefulness had ended, next to none of them were preserved. Most of them were turned over to South Vietnam and neighboring countries, with a small handful managing to find their way into US museums. Now, there are two notable PBR restorations that I want to talk about, to include Amazon's hit show, The Grand Tour, when Jeremy Clarkson had a Mark II replica built from scratch. If you've never seen that episode, I highly recommend you
good
check
episode.
it out. It is one of my absolute favorites, and you've seen it peppered throughout this entire video.
Honestly, yes, that is one of my favorite episodes too. I have gone back and rewatched that episode multiple times. It is such a good episode.
But hands down, my favorite restoration project involved PBR 721, which was a Mark II that was fully restored by a Navy veteran named Dennis Ambruso. This was a painstaking rebuild that began in 1991 and was finally river-worthy in 2002. And as for Art and his contributions to PBR, he continued to remain humble about what he had accomplished for the rest of his life.
I don't know.
Anytime someone would thank him for the work that he did, his
it.
response would always be something along the lines of, "It's my crew that you want to thank, not me." Art lived a long, full life before eventually passing away on October 1st, 2013 at the age of 91. And as a testament to how important the PBR was in his life, a note about it was included in his obituary. The note gave praise to a fiberglass boat that zipped in and out of harm's way. It was for the vets who served on PBRs. It was the boats that are remembered fondly, and it was the bond that was forged along the brown waters of Nam, and how it helped to solidify a legacy that will be studied, hopefully, for years to come. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching, and please, if you want to support me and what I'm doing here, then go ahead and get yourself some tactically acquired merch at tangoalpha.store.
Really good video. I like it.
I'm gonna go work on the next video.
Dope.
Tac out.
I've already liked it. This was a really good video. This is really good. I really enjoyed it. I gotta check out more of his shit. I gotta check out your his other video on the one dude that he kept showing. Well, that was tactically acquired. God, I gotta definitely check out more of his stuff. I really enjoy his videos, and they're honestly, I forgot how much fun they were to watch. Make sure you guys check out the original. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, you guys take care of yourselves. See ya.